I'm Madeline. Welcome here. Today I have a pretty big book haul for you. I think over 20 books. These are mostly all thrifted. Well, actually all of them I believe are thrifted. And it's a pretty mixed bag. We have classics, middle grade, some poetry, nonfiction, what else? And a couple of other random things sprinkled in. Right, first up, let's start with my lone historical fiction book, and that is Miss Morgan's Book Brigade. This is by the author of The Paris Library, which I read a couple of years ago and really enjoyed. It was all about the American library in Paris, and I actually volunteered at that library when I was living in Paris, and so it has a really special place in my heart, and I just really enjoyed her book. So I'm looking forward to this one. I don't know too much about it. I guess it's told in dual timelines, so the first being in 1918 during World War I, and then in 1987. Apparently our main character turns ambulances into bookmobiles and trains the first French female librarians. So this sounds really interesting and I'm looking forward to picking this up. Next up, some middle grade. I have The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. This takes place in New York City during Christmas time, and I've heard so many good things about this, so I definitely want to save this for the winter months. I also got the Betsy Tacy Treasury. This contains the first 4 books. I've read the first one, Betsy Tacy, and then we have Betsy Tacy and Tib, Betsy and Tacy Go Over the Big Hill, and Betsy and Tacy Go Downtown. These books are so sweet, and in the first book we follow Betsy and her friend Tacy, and I think they're 5 years old at the beginning of it, and as the series progresses they are growing up. So I'm really looking forward to getting to some of the later books and getting to see them evolve. This takes place in the turn of the century in a little town in Minnesota, and it's just so cozy and sweet. I love so much the characters, and I'm looking forward to diving back into this world. You might have seen this if you saw my last reading vlog, but I got Heidi, this beautiful Puffin and Bloom edition. I've already started it. I'm almost finished with it. I think I just have 2 chapters left, but this has been such a fun read. I have loved this book. It's so atmospheric, it's so lovely and sweet, and I will definitely be talking more about this at my end of the month wrap up. Right. Next up are some classics. This is by far the biggest section of books that I got. Again, this made an appearance in the reading blog, Persuasion by Jane Austen. I started listening to this on audio, and I think I'm going to continue actually physically reading it. So I'm only on chapter 5, but I am enjoying this so far and looking forward to diving into it. I also scored a Persephone, and I always pick these up when I find them in used bookstores because I just love these editions so much. And this is the Journal of Katherine Mansfield. I don't know too much about this. I really don't know anything about this, but I do enjoy reading journals. I'm looking forward to giving this a shot. I also got Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. I read my first Dickens last year, and it is definitely a goal of mine to get to more of his books, although this one is quite large. This is his last complete novel. I don't know too much about it. I don't really want to know very much going into classics like this, but I am definitely looking forward to reading more Dickens in the future. Other Dickens, I have Dombey and Son, and I am so excited that I found this edition. I honestly cannot believe it. This is, of course, the Penguin English Library edition, but this is one of the out-of-print ones. We can see we have the lovely portrait of Charles Dickens here. And so yeah, I am so excited that I found this at a used bookstore for €2. That was a major score. This one I think is even a bit longer than Our Mutual Friend. How many pages is this? This is well over 1,000 pages. So I don't know if I will be picking this up anytime soon, but I couldn't resist it, and especially since it's the gorgeous Penguin English Library. I also picked up The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle. I don't know if it really matters how you read these books. I haven't read any of the Sherlock Holmes books, but I would really like to give them a try. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research to know how I should read these, in what order. If you have any opinions on that, let me know. But I couldn't resist picking this up. Also got, and maybe this was a bad call because I read this in high school and did not like it, but again, I found it for so cheap at a used bookstore that I couldn't resist. Maybe I would enjoy it again. And that is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. I don't remember too much about this in high school except that I really, really hated it. But I also really, really hated Jane Eyre, and I know if I would read that now, I would really enjoy it, I think. So maybe this is just a case of 17-year-old Madeline not enjoying books that she probably would enjoy later in life. I don't know, but I picked it up anyway. It's a Penguin classic and I can't resist those, so I got this. I also got The Last of the Mohicans. This might be a mistake too because I don't know how graphic this is. By the cover, it looks like it's gonna be a little graphic. I don't know, but it's a classic and I thought I could give it a shot. Next we have Right-Ho Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. I think I actually listened to this one on audiobook, but I don't remember very much of it, so I am glad to have a copy to maybe reread at some point. I love Birdie and Jeeves. It's so funny, and yeah, P.G. Wodehouse is an automatic purchase for me. Also, I got Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. This is nothing on the cover, but it does have the title of the book on the spine. I have been in such a Daphne du Maurier kick lately, and I am really eager to read this one. So, and finally is this cute little blue edition of Emma. I already have a copy of Emma, but this one is so sweet and tiny and lovely, so another Jane Austen book is always a good idea. Alright, next up I have two poetry books, which is a little strange for me, but I have really gotten into reading poetry lately. First is this Folio Society edition of Bird Poems by John Clare. I believe this was published sometime in the 80s, and it is just filled with different poems, each one about a different kind of bird, and there are gorgeous illustrations. Oops. There are gorgeous illustrations to go along with each of the different birds. I read the first couple of poems, but so far I'm really enjoying it. This one just to kind of dip in and out of. So I'm looking forward to continuing on with this. I also have the Essential Wordsworth. So I read some of William Wordsworth's poems in my A Poem for Every Spring Day that I read earlier this spring, and I really fell in love with his work, and so I'm really glad to have a collection of his. This is also just a beautiful book. I love the detailing up at the top. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more and reading more of William Wordsworth's. Alright, next up I have one lone mystery book. That is The Mistletoe Murder and Other Stories by P.D. James. I have never read any of P.D. James's works, but I've heard really good things. This is such a gorgeous edition. I love the cover, and it has the same kind of illustrations in the flap. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's a collection of short stories, and I think this will be a nice read in December time. It's quite short also, so I'm looking forward to tucking that away for December. Right. And finally, I have some nonfiction. I don't typically read a lot of nonfiction, but all of these sound really interesting, and I'm hoping they will be good. So first up, we have Sunlight at Midnight, St. Petersburg and the Rise of Modern Russia. I read The Brothers Karamazov last summer, and I feel like I'm lacking a lot in a general understanding of Russian history that would help me maybe appreciate Russian classics more. So hopefully this will kind of help fill in some of those gaps for me. Interested in the history of Russia, I think this will be quite good. Kind of history-esque one, I found Michelangelo and the Pope's Ceiling. This kind of details the story and the backstory and kind of during Michelangelo's painting of the Sistine Chapel. I have been fortunate enough to visit Rome and visit the Sistine Chapel twice, and we're planning a family vacation there early in 2025, so I thought this would be a good thing to read before going back. This does have some pictures in it as well, and some diagrams and things, so hopefully this won't be too dull. It is quite a big book. Finally is Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House in the Ozarks, and this is some of her writings, her rediscovered writings, which have not been published since the early 1900s. So I'm hoping to reread / read for the first time some of the Little House books this year, but that hasn't happened yet. Maybe in the fall or winter I will want to do that. But I am excited to have this. I love Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I think this is just going to be a lot of fun. Okay, I opened up to this one. It's about women's duty at the polls, published in April of 1919. She says, "We must get rid of the habit of classing all women together politically and thinking of the women's vote as one and indivisible." So interesting. I guess these are on a wide variety of topics. She gets into politics. She writes about homemaking. Yeah, this should be really interesting. All right, that is a wrap on my book haul. This has definitely exploded my TBR. Let me know below if you've read any of these and if you think I should prioritize them. I will see you next time. Bye.